Welcome again to this session, Advisors Webinar, Surviving the Pandemic Challenges. I'm happy to host today my friend and colleague, Engineer Ziad, who's going to speak to us tonight about PMIs and KPIs and dashboards. Good evening, Ziad. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Sande. I'm doing well. Thank you for hosting me. I'm very happy to be in Advisors Webinars channel. Looking forward to this webinar today.
Okay, welcome again. So, as usual, before we start, I'm gonna do a couple of things. Those of you who wish to earn the video, please fill in the forms that Mustafa is sharing with us. Also, those who wish to have the presentation, please fill in the other form. Now, I'd like to introduce Ziad. Ziad, we've been working together for probably around 10 years now, more or less. And we work together in so many different PMO projects in several countries. He's actually a very reliable PMO manager and consultant. And today, the presentation he's sharing is based on mainly experience, in addition, of course, to several best practices like the ones developed by Harold Kerzner and others. So welcome again, Ziad. Okay, Ziad, of course, is PMP certified, and he is also certified business analyst by PMI, and Lead Green certified as well. Now, before we start, I'd like also to make an announcement that made me very happy. Yesterday afternoon, I sat for the Strategic Implementation Professional exam, and I passed. To share my experience with you, it was not that easy. I had to study. I went over the material and they were very, very beneficial. I'm a project manager, and this topic talks about the other part, the part that project managers speak to as a black box, but we don't know what is inside, not all the time. So I believe it can make us, those who get certified, better consultants when we know both operation aspect with respect to strategy, and we already know project management aspect with respect to strategy from portfolio management and organizational project management. So having said that, the next thing for me to do is to thank our partners, and I'm going to make us smaller. Okay. Let me thank, first of all, Strategy Implementation Institute, Antonio Nieto Rodriguez and Robin Speculant, our partners. We do have a very important new partner we will announce very soon, and two others coming on the way. This will help expand the network and increase the people who benefit from our webinars. And by the way, one important thing, I've seen somewhere that people are happy that we are offering 14 seminars that will end in July. Sorry, we will not end in July. Okay, so far we have around 14 or 15. Several of them are from international experts. You're gonna really enjoy them. Now, to thank the other partners, the Guild of Project Professionals, then our dear PMI partners. First, I would like to congratulate PMI KSA for having a new board. The president is Badr Bourchet, okay, our friend, director of PMOD from Aramco, and they have a new board. We wish them all the success. We'd also like to thank our partners from PMI Tunisia, from PMI Russia, from Budapest, Central Italy, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Cote d'Ivoire, Botswana, and Mauritius. Now, having said that, I spoke too much tonight, and Ziad is waiting. So Ziad, I'm gonna walk out now, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Saadi. Thank you for the introduction and all the introductory stuff. Okay, I don't need to introduce myself a lot. Dr. Saadi did that for me. Just to say that originally I'm an electrical and computer engineer and have a master in engineering management, PMP and PMI PBA certified. I have a lot of experience, around 10 years in consultancy management, specifically in project management and PMOs. I'm also a trainer, giving vast arrays of courses in project management, PMIS, business analysis, and other sustainability, other subjects. Okay. So let's start with the topics. First of all, before the topics, I would like to emphasize about the title of our webinar. So let me just give a brief about what it is about. So some people here may have different backgrounds. Many have a lot of experience in project management, others don't. So let me start by saying what is PMIS, KPIs, and dashboards. So first of all, PMIS is a project management information system. It's basically a software that does project management related functions. So it's a software where you can do cost management, scheduling, collaboration, other things. KPIs are, of course, key performance indicators. We'll talk about a lot more about them in this webinar. They are related to reporting and knowing the health and status of our project. And dashboards are like a visual way to report your project in a quick manner, easy manner, that anyone can understand the status by taking a look at a screen, a window, or a snapshot. So in brief, what is the title of our webinar? We're going to talk about in this webinar mainly 5 subjects. There are some subsections, but mainly the executive view of project management, how project management view for executives is changing, the value of reporting, metrics, and KPIs. So before we go into KPIs, we're going to talk a little bit about metrics and what are metrics and how to get to KPIs. Dashboard design and structure. We're going to spend a little time about how we design a good dashboard, which is effective and efficient. We're going to have a very quick overview of PMIS applications, main features, functions, and differences, which are, of course, software we talked about. And in the end, some novel concepts and new trends and technologies used in project reporting nowadays. Of course, your questions are encouraged. I think we're going to have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So let's start with the first topic, which is executive view of project management. Here we have the old view, we have the new view, we have the changing dynamics, changing role of a PM. Old view, project management was strictly looked at as a career path for some individuals. Okay, it was not really a across the board skill that was required for all professionals or for most of professionals working in projects. Now, project management is becoming really a core competency in most companies, and CEOs and executives are recognizing that in order to have good growth, sustainability, and good successful projects, PM needs to be a core competency for all their staff and professionals. It used to be like PMs start when initiation and end with closing. So there's no role for PM in taking other decisions other than project execution. And now it's not true. Why? PMs are participating in strategy meeting, planning, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes in portfolio selection, okay? Capacity building and planning. How do I build my capacity for my resources and staff, even though they are no longer in my project, they are in the company. Why? Because in future projects, I might have the same resources. So I will care about organizational growth. I will care about organizational sustainability, even if I am a PM. So PMs are moving more towards understanding the bigger picture, the strategy, the decisions, the long-term planning. How does this affect my project reporting? It means PMs need to understand more how to get KPIs and metrics and more forms of dashboards, of reporting, of communication between themselves senior management, external parties, and the customers and stakeholders. All of this happens in communications, of course, but reporting, KPIs and metrics and dashboards is a very important part of communication. So when you expand the role of the project manager, you also expand the need for good project reporting and overall reporting as well. So project and non-project reporting. So this is a very quick view about the executive view of project management. We have like a structure here: vision, mission, high-level objectives for any organization or company. At the top, we have senior management doing all the portfolio management stuff, choosing what we want to do, what we don't want to do, okay, selecting the right mix of projects. And then we have the project and programs, which are where we execute the strategy. Here, of course, PMs have a lot to do. So, and we have also at the same time operations, which is the ongoing work day-to-day of the company. So why is reporting here important? You see these red arrows, okay? The red arrows are like decisions, are like guidance, okay, that are given from one body entity to another. So how do we get these decisions and new insights and guidance? We need reporting. So we need feedback to get decision making. So if you want, every red arrow here on this diagram has another arrow, let's say in green, okay, that is what related to reporting. You need to send KPIs, you need to send metrics, you need to send feedback, okay, to your senior management, internally in the project and externally to other entities. So when you look at the big picture, reporting is very important to get to a sustainable organization. Okay, these two slides are just an introduction about the executive view of project management. Now let's go to top project management challenges. Here, let me state, first of all, these are not in order. Okay, this is a study that has been done about what are the challenges any PM might face in his project, in his or her project. So one, you have, of course, the yellow and the green. What's the difference? The yellow is related to tools and methodology, and green is related to what? To capacity and competency, which is the skills of the PM himself. Okay, so very two important to distinguish between the tools you have, the methodology you have, the processes you have, and what your skills, competencies, and yours and your teams as well. Okay, in terms of PM, other soft skills and other skills, technological skills. So you have the inexperienced project managers, very big challenge, failure to set and manage expectations, poor leadership, failure to document and track, poor plans, poor estimation, cultural misalignment, inadequate methods. But the number 10, the one we want to focus about is what? Inadequate communication. Why? Because you have poor progress tracking and reporting. And here I want to tell a little story. It has been said by experts in the field that a lot of projects start very well. And until you have like 50%, 60%, 40% progress, a lot of the people are giving some deliverables and doing some outputs, okay, and people are happy. But around the 60%, 70% benchmark or milestone, what happens? A lot of delays become more apparent and a lot of issues and problems appear. Why? Because this is the main issue, is inadequate communication and inadequate project reporting. They don't have the real reporting tools, KPIs, metrics from the beginning of the project, which made like they did not see the truth from the beginning. They went into the project thinking all is well, but in the middle of the project, they discover there's a lot of problems. So now they need to do what? The reassessment, the recovery plan, the maybe delaying the deadlines, and all of this is a very big issue in most projects. So if we have from the beginning very good process and very good reporting, it will solve a lot of issues in the later stages of our project. So let's start with our first poll for this evening. We'll start some interaction. So I gave you like a brief about KPIs and metrics, very quick. But now I want to take your opinion. So the poll is, what is the most important requirement? So what do we need to prepare? Requirement is something we prepare beforehand to develop high-level or efficient, if you want, metrics and KPIs. And we have four answers: well-defined project charter, realistic and clear project objectives, standardized processes, efficient use of PM tools and techniques. So I think the poll is going to start now. Okay, let's give a minute. Okay, I have the answer now. Answer is here. Okay, we'll stop it now. Okay, so I don't know if you can see the answers. I have 14% for A, 59% for B, 11% for C, and 14% for D. Unfortunately, the one with the least percentage is the most important one. Why? Let me explain. First of all, B is very important. All of them are important, of course, to get to good reporting. However, in order to have clear metrics and clear KPIs and clear reporting, you need to work in a standardized manner. Because if we are measuring, let's say, delay of schedule, okay, and everyone is doing his own bit of scheduling, doing his own bit of assumptions and timelines, how can we get to one version of KPIs and later on dashboards? Let's say risk. Okay, if we don't have a unified process to get the risks and to measure them, probability, impact, and others, how can we get unified scores that are really our KPIs in risk management? Same in cost, same in other knowledge areas. So standardizing processes is at the center of building our own KPIs, metrics, and later on dashboards. Okay. Of course, having a good charter and objectives is very important. Okay, and tools and techniques are important as well. But standardized process, I cannot emphasize enough how it is important for reporting. No standard process, very bad reporting. Okay, thank you everyone for participating in this poll. Okay, so let's continue. Here we have a very high-level reporting framework. I want to get your attention on something very important. We have the client stakeholders who give us the requirements. Of course, they are input to any process we are working on. We have processes. They can be PMBOK processes or others. Here it's an example PMBOK guide. We have our tools, our metrics, our KPIs, and our dashboards, which is IPE, MC, what is this? Initiation, planning, execution, and you know the rest. We have deliverables and output, and we have the customer satisfaction management, or the output going to the customer in the end of this framework. What I want to get your attention to is that there is a big difference normally in most projects between the tools and KPIs done or metrics done at the process of the execution company and the metrics at the client side. Why is that? Sometimes they have different systems. Sometimes they have different understanding and background. Sometimes they have different knowledge, okay? Different templates. What happens? What happens a lot of times is that many of the people executing the project give reports and KPIs and metrics that are not well understood by the customer. Or the customer has, if he has 5 different companies working with him, he has different reports from each company, which is very hard for him to manage. So here what I want to do is we need to unify metric library and KPI library to give a client value-added activities or reporting, and we need to have standardization between our own reporting and reports and metrics and KPIs with what's going to the client and how the client is reading it, understanding it, and communicating it to other project stakeholders. Okay, so standardize your own process for reporting with the needs of your client. This is very important in this big framework to understand how reporting goes from your side to the client side. What they are doing right now to solve this problem is they are inserting in RFPs and in contracts. What they are inserting: some software, some methodology, some well-known benchmark worldwide for KPIs, reporting processes, and software to use and to standardize for all stakeholders in the same project, especially mega projects and big projects where you have multiple stakeholders. Very quick slide, the key pillars for project reporting. At the center, the gray one, if you want, is what? The processes, like the procedures, the standardization. But you have some other pillars, like what? Like governance. Because governance is very important. If you don't have good governance, which is what? Decision-making, authorities, who does what, roles, responsibilities, your reporting will be lost, okay? New success criteria, which is what? Which is expanding the role of the project manager or the project management interaction with pre-project, post-project. So success criteria is not just deliverable and output, it's what? It's benefit, it's realization of objectives. So we need to understand this because KPIs are no longer only cost, time, and scope. They are bigger than this. KPIs, we'll talk about KPIs and how to build them. Measurement, very important. We need to distinguish that measurements happen in all projects. And measurements are the basis for good metrics. And good metrics are basis to KPIs, okay? So at the bottom level, you have something we call measurement, okay? Of course, you can do measurement like testing on site and with equipment, or measurement could be counting, could be adding up, anything could be a measurement, okay? Desk work or site work. But measurement, to have accurate measurement, you have the basics, okay? Basics for reporting. Now we need to understand how to do the metrics and later the KPIs. And at the last stage is what? Dashboard design. So you cannot start with dashboard, okay? You need to have good KPIs and metrics to be able to build your dashboard, okay? But good dashboard design is very important also in the reporting process. Requirements for building metrics. So let's start with basic knowledge. What is basic knowledge? Common language. So the ones, the PMs and his assistants or his team who will build the project metrics and KPIs need to understand some common language, which is basic project management knowledge, okay? For example, project management. They need to know what is scheduling, what is risk management. They need to know how to do counting, how to do measurements for issues, for other things, okay? They need to distinguish these main concepts. This is common language, okay? This is very common. You can take any project management course to know it. Then common process. As I said before, if you don't enforce standardized process in your project, it's very hard to do reporting. You need to enforce a standardized process. Here, the role of the PMO. The role of the PMO is to define a process and to make sure, if you have some control, make sure there is what? Compliance with your process that you enforced or you suggested. Then think single methodology. So this, we're talking about the methodology for building your metrics and KPIs. So it may be, I may have some sessions, meeting, brainstorming. I may get some experts. I may do some benchmarking. Okay, there's a lot of ways to get my KPIs and metrics, but I need to do a methodology. So metrics aren't going to be here by themselves. I need to make a clear way, steps to build metrics and build KPIs and later build dashboards. Benchmarking, normally this happens in some projects, not all. When I have my metrics and my KPIs, I go and see other industry leaders. What are they doing? Do they have the same metrics? Okay, what are the publications that talk about KPIs? What are the main courses, certifications? How can I know that my KPIs are efficient, effective, doing me a favor? Okay, I need to benchmark. I need to look outside and compare. And finally, I do not sit on my successes. I need to continuously improve my KPIs, my reporting, my processes in order to get better in the next project or in the same project at a later stage. Okay, project metrics, categories, and types. This I will go through it quickly. Okay, it's a bit detailed. We have a difference between business financial metrics or KPIs and project KPIs. Business financial KPIs will focus on strategic goals and objectives, on financial profitability and long-term growth of the company, long-term sustainability. Okay, and these are usually found in something we call what? A scorecard, balanced scorecard. Okay, others which we find in the more project-oriented dashboards in reports are what? Project performance KPIs and dashboards. Like what? Like the cost dashboards, like the number of RFIs, like the number of issues, or the severity scores of risks. Okay, a lot of these are related to project performance. The reporting frequency is very different. Usually the business financial KPIs or metrics are monthly or quarterly, but the project performance are real time, which means daily. Okay, in the worst case it might be weekly, but daily is very important in projects to monitor the health and the updates in the project. Items to look at, you have some examples. I gave examples. Length of use, it's very different. We use the business financial ones longer, okay, for a lot longer. Use of data, we need to correct baselines in projects, and we need to change strategy in corporations, and target audience is very different as well. Now, project management metrics. So a metric is really basically a number, okay, taken after a measurement, okay, and this metric will help me determine the progress, the status, the health of my project. Okay, in the past few metrics were fixed during the duration of the whole project. So this was, we do metrics once. We need activities, we need number of risks, we need number of issues, we need to look at NCRs, okay, and we put them, and it's set. No, now metric-driven project management is about continuously changing metrics and updating them and improving them to have better look at the progress of my project, at the issues I'm encountering, at the health of my project. So a metric is basically a number that I'm using to monitor the progress of my project. Okay. Another poll for you. I hope you do a lot better than the last time. Okay. So what is the difference between a metric and a KPI? I know I didn't explain KPIs well enough yet, but I think you will have an idea. They are the same, no difference. There is a difference, but it's very minimal. Metric is generic, KPI is specific. Metrics is actionable, KPI is not, and none of the above. It's a bit tricky as well. Okay, we'll give a minute. Okay, I think we can stop the poll now. I have very good results for this one. Well done. Okay, so exactly, I'll tell you the percentages. I have A, 1%. Okay, they are not the same, of course. There is a difference between a metric and KPI. B, I have 7%. There is a difference, but it's minimal. It is not minimal, it's a big difference. C, metric is generic and KPI is specific. This is the correct answer. Okay. In other terms, you can say it more easily so everyone can understand. Every KPI is a metric, but not every metric is a KPI. So metric is the big group. KPIs is only a limited group in this big subset. Okay. Metrics is generic, more general. Metrics are numbers, okay, that give me the indication of health and status, but KPIs are more specific. Why? You see number D? Number D is exactly the opposite. Okay? Metric is actionable, KPI is not. It is the opposite. Usually metrics are not actionable, which means they do not lead directly to project decisions and changes. However, KPIs, which are basically made of several metrics and some calculations, lead in most cases to project decisions. I'll give you an example. If I have in cost, I'll give you an example in cost. If you have the actual cost paid until now, it's a metric. Okay. But if you calculate the actual cost in comparison to the budget, and you make an indicator about your cost performance, it's now a KPI. Why? Because if you have an indicator of your cost performance, you will decide if you want to spend more, spend less, spend equally. How are you going to change your spending? Okay, what is wrong with your spending? How do you do some dig in and root cause analysis on your spending? So KPI leads to action. Okay, it leads to a lot more of decisions and changes. Metric is very important, but it's more basic than KPI. Okay, none of the above is of course wrong. So our answer here is C. Okay, let's continue. Very well done on this question. So what I was explaining right now, difference between metrics and KPIs, it's important to understand that measurements lead to metrics. Metrics lead to KPIs. How? Because KPIs, are basically a combination of different metrics. They need some calculations. I'll give you another example. In risk management, if you have a probability for a risk, it's a metric. Okay, probability by itself. Once we have, for the same risk, we have something called severity score, which has probability, impact, and urgency, for example. Okay, now we have a KPI which might tell me how to change the response plan. Okay, so KPIs are a subset of metrics, or some numbers as well, but they are taking from different metrics, interrelated metrics that are doing some interaction together to give me an actionable number, helping me in future decisions. Everything we say is a predictive reporting is related to what? To KPIs. When I'm doing forecasting, when I'm doing predictions, it's related to KPIs. Why? Because if I'm trying to foresee the future to make better decisions, it's a KPI now, not a simple metric. Okay, so I have some information about KPIs here to monitor health. Here they called company. Why? Because here company is about what? Financial or business metric KPIs. I can have it for project as well. Measure progress, of course. Metrics and KPIs are both used to measure progress. To make adjustments, stay on track, this is the action. To solve problems and to analyze patterns over time, which is what? Like forecasting, okay, in the future of the project. A very simple slide. Metric 1, metric 2, metric 3 interact to give me what? KPIs. This is called KPIs interdependency. So there are a set of interrelated performance measures necessary to meet project CSFs, which is what? Critical success factors. Here it's the link between KPIs and strategy. So KPIs are more linked to my objectives and goals than metrics. Okay, metrics are simpler. They might not be linked to goals directly, but KPIs need to be linked to my CSFs, which are critical success factors, of course, taken from my business case and objectives and etc. Another poll for yourself. This is a fun poll. Okay, it's fun. We'll discover something new. I think, okay, I'll not give you any help now. So what document first introduced the concept of KPIs? It's not very old, by the way. So we have the PMBOK guide, our very dear friend, if you'd like to say, Conceptual Foundations of Balanced Scorecard, and the Agile Manifesto. Okay, so let's give it a minute. Okay, I think we can stop it now. Stop here. Okay, let me give the answer, everyone. The correct answer is B. Okay, it's a bit of a surprise for some. I have 62% for B, which is very good. Maybe many know it. Maybe I gave a little hint before. 29% for the PMBOK guide, which is very dear to our hearts, but in this case is not true. And 7% for the Agile Manifesto. I guess we have little here tonight from IT and technology sector. Okay, so why B? B basically, Kaplan and Norton, both guys, very experienced people, leaders in the concept. They developed something called Balanced Scorecard, which has a lot of benefit and a lot of, if you want, pioneering in the field of reporting and dashboarding. Okay, Like the PIM book guide has a lot of benefits for the field of project management, the balanced scorecard, which is more related to strategy and business, had a lot of input to give in the field of reporting. In the early 1990s, they introduced something called KPIs, which was not well known before or known before as a business concept. Okay, so B here is the right answer. Again, thank you for participating. So let's continue. We have a small tool here called KPI Wheel. What is KPI Wheel? It's a way, if you want to develop a KPI, you might need to ask yourself questions and to answer them in order to have an efficient KPI. What questions am I answering here? Why is this KPI here? The why. Who's asking? Who's asking? The audience. Okay. Maybe I'm doing a KPI and no one wants it. Okay. Maybe I'm doing a KPI. It has no value to my customer. I need to be careful about the audience and who's asking for this KPI. Maybe audience is internal. Maybe the PM requested this KPI, but usually I need to understand why am I doing it and to who, to whom. Why is it important? The value. Okay, so if I do this KPI, how is my project going to change? Okay, what decisions I might take after looking at this KPI? Data source is very, very, very important. If I want to do the best KPIs and the best dashboards and the best metrics in the field right now, but I don't have the way to collect data and information, they are worth nothing. Okay, because in a lot of projects it's very hard to get to the real information and the real data, especially if you have multiple external stakeholders. If you deal with big projects, a lot of the teams are not under you, are not under your team. You need to get to the sources of the data from different places and different companies and different teams. So you need to gather data sources, make sure they are there before you set up to do the KPI or the metric or the dashboard later. So we have the questions raised and we have the actions to be taken to develop this KPI. This is called KPI Wheel. Okay, now beginning with some information about dashboards. Okay, so what are dashboards? They are like windows, screens, PowerPoints, even presentations they can be, that show us the status of the project or the progress of the project in one glance, in very simplified and straightforward information, okay, in visual manner. There's a difference, because if I give you now an Excel sheet with 100 KPIs and each KPI has monthly input and entry and every KPI has a lot of numbers and data, this is not really a dashboard. Okay, it's not very easy to see. The rule is, the more I will go up in the management stream or vertical, the easier and the more clear the dashboard needs to be. Okay, if I'm doing very detailed dashboards and very complex dashboards, they are not for senior managers. Okay, maybe they are similar to detailed reports for my team. Okay, so dashboard needs to be what? At a glance, very quick, very clear, very straightforward, and give the correct status of the project and the progress of the project. Okay, so here we focus on three things. Aesthetic appeal, very important. Some people who are really process oriented think that aesthetic appeal is in the end. I think it's not. If it's the very beginning for dashboards. If you don't have aesthetic appeal in dashboard, it will not be easily understood. You will not have retention and you will not serve your purpose. Okay, so you need to have very nice looking dashboards. Easily understood, which means you don't need to put a lot of comments and asterisks and 1, 2, 3 in writing in text to explain it. If it is like this, you need to change it. Okay, you need to understand what you're looking at from the first glance without a lot of thinking. Okay, and retention, good dashboards remain in short-term memory a significant period of time. Okay, bad dashboards, you see them and you forget them the same second. Okay, why? Because they are badly designed. Okay, so retention is important to customers as well. One of the very famous dashboards, okay, used practically in many projects are what? Traffic light dashboards. Okay, but we need to be careful as well. Traffic light dashboards are very important, used a lot, but if we use them in a wrong manner, okay, they can lead to sometimes some if you want, resistance from the client. Why? Because traffic light dashboards, of course, they need a lot of data sourcing. So if one of the dashboards, if you have a lot of these traffic lights, and one of the lights is red, and you need it to be yellow or green, and you have some errors in it, your client, looking, if he knows the project and he knows there's an error, might stop trusting this dashboard. So this dashboard needs to be updated very often, okay? Especially if you have a lot of projects like this example here. If you're going to go with traffic light dashboards, make sure you have very good data sources, updated very frequently, because usually it's live. What means live means daily, okay? Sometimes 2 times per day, it depends, okay? Because once you start neglecting this traffic light dashboard or having wrong information, trust will go very fast, okay? And you need to build another dashboard, let's say, okay? So traffic light is very much used, but it needs very good data sources. Some rules, general rules for building dashboards. We need to look at aesthetics. We said that symmetry, proportions, how you organize your screen, provide information at a glance. You don't need to look very hard to find the information. It needs to be written clearly, okay, in big formats, okay? Because if you need to do the opposite, it's very hard for dashboard. Computer resolution and displays. Now, to add to this, mobile displays, okay? A lot of clients are now requesting what? To have websites that are mobile friendly, or an app, okay, for dashboards. They don't want to log into their computer if they're on site, if they're abroad, if they're having to look at dashboard and make a quick decisions, or send an email. They need to see this dashboard quickly. So you need to be friendly with a lot of platforms now. User needs and audience. Of course, I told you, you need to look who is seeing your dashboard. Senior management, middle management, your team, okay? Because it will differentiate a lot. How do you display your information? And finally, simple design, fewest metrics needed. You need to put all the metrics or KPIs that you want, but fewest. Don't think that cramming a lot of information and KPIs is good. It's bad. Okay, for dashboards, it's bad. You need to have it fewest metrics needed. Okay, maybe you can have multiple screens and multiple dashboards and some drill in. Okay, but you need to decide how to keep it simple in design. Let's go quickly into dashboard levels. It's very important for good dashboards to have levels. What are levels? These are drill down interactive dashboards, which means I start on the very top, very high level, and I can go in very deep into the details, detailed section, okay? When needed. Not all people will go in, but when needed, if I need more info, I can go down and get it. This also proves what? That your dashboard is not a dummy dashboard, okay? It's not something you log in or manually type in. It proves you have a very good data source from a system or software that is feeding into your dashboard. This here is a level 1 dashboard. It usually has a map or a high-level portfolio, if you want, tabs. Okay, this is a portfolio level or program level. Okay, it has project names, overall status of project location, some summary information about the dashboard or portfolio. Sorry, program or portfolio. Usually, level 2 is project. It can be program as well. It has some information about the cost summary, cost information, schedule information, number of issues, what's the main challenges, okay, some photos maybe, some other charts and graphs. Here, I need to understand that we are digging in. So we came here to this dashboard and we clicked on one project, okay, from our portfolio or program. So we go into details after clicking. Here, executive project dashboard. Okay, I want to focus now on one aspect of the project, like cost, like schedule, like risk. I can do it in level 3. So level 3, we have a lot of examples. We have the cost status, specifically for costs for one project dashboard. We have the document status. What is document status? Because we had some workflows. So we have some documents pending, approved, rejected. Some issues are dealt with, some are not. Okay, some folders are uploaded, some are not. This is document status in a project. We can also have schedule status, activities that are done, activities that are late, some high-level progress report on our schedule as well. Level 4 is no longer really a dashboard, okay? But I'm putting it here because it's a result from a dashboard. So here, if you have in document status, you have, let's say, 20 RFIs, okay? Here, RFIs is called request for inspection, not information, okay? So I want to see only what the pending RFIs. So I click on the red part of the pie chart. I go into it, what? Level 4, which is here a table now, okay? It's a table, it's a report mainly. It's an automated report, but it's a subsequent part from a dashboard. And level 5, I want to look at a specific RFI and see what's the problem, why it's pending, what are the issues, what are the problems, okay? So I'm going to the last level of my data source or information. And you can see here it's a e-form, not a document uploaded. It's an e-form where you can enter data in this example. Okay, now to finish talking about dashboard, let's talk a little bit about different types of PMIS or softwares that are available. First of all, to clear some confusion, the first 5 are really PMIS more. Number 6 and 7, which are ERPs and CRMs, are not. Okay, they are not PMIS, but I'm talking about why are they here. Okay, PPM Enterprise Solutions, this is portfolio program management solutions. These are really comprehensive, overall aspect project management tools. So they contain modules. Okay, one module is cost, one module is scheduling, risk, document management, and other modules. These are meant to be a comprehensive tool to handle all your project management needs as a software. What's the downside here? It could be a little bit complexity, and it could be cost. Okay, many of these have a high cost. Okay, scheduling and resource management, very famous. I would say #1 used PMIS in all of the projects are scheduling and resource management tools. I will not name names, you know many of them. Okay, why? Because many of the PMs feel that they really need help in automation in scheduling. Okay, so they focus on having automated schedules and resource management with some reporting related to them in the software as well. Cost management, these are specialty softwares where you automate your cost management process from estimation, building your items and line items and estimating your project, to cost control, which is looking at expenditures against each line item in your software. Of course, each one of these has its own reports, KPIs, dashboards inside the software. Risk management, again, specialty software, going into details about risk management. What's nice here in risk management is that it offers simulation models. Okay, so it helps you, it gives you a little bit of insight on how you can predict risk patterns, okay, which you cannot do in normal softwares, which are only risk registers. Document management, very well known, storing your documents and maybe applying some workflow, automated communication to these documents, okay. What are ERPs? ERPs are softwares that are called enterprise resource planning, usually used for attendance, financials, accounting, bidding, okay, a lot of things. And some of these are used as project management as well, project management tools. So ERPs are interacting a lot with our PMIS systems. They are giving data and taking data, okay? It's important for project manager to understand that these softwares are relevant for him and to know how to communicate with them, okay? They may be in the HR side or accounting side sometimes, but they are very important to our projects in terms of communication, okay? And CRMs at the end. CRMs are obviously for sales and business development, but now new trends say that PMs need to understand how this project was won, okay? And what are the main objectives, goals, and constraints from the client, from the business side. So interaction between your PMIS and CRM is important nowadays, okay? So a quick glance at PMIS and other softwares that need to be integrated with PMIS. Okay, now we get to the novel concepts. Like the end of this presentation, we have something called a very important one, workflow process automation of workflow. Okay, because we call it also business process management or business process modeling, BPM. Okay, and there is also an association for this, like PMI. It's focused on BPM. This is a very important thing where you go and you build a process, you build a streamline of information, and you automate it inside the software. Okay, once you automate it, you can make collaboration seamless and automatic. Okay, you have a submitter who will submit a form, a template, etc., and you have people who will be replying, reject, return, forward, approve, many of these actions. The importance here, it's very easy now if you have it automated to get your metrics, your KPIs, your dashboards about the status of your communication and workflows. Okay, so you have 20 pending, 10 rejected, 50 approved. Very easy, very quick. Okay, and some new features include branching. So if the project is above 5 million, go to the CEO. Project is below 5 million, go to the CFO. Example. If the project, you can do some branching and you can do some delegating. So what if the person who is project accountant or project engineer is absent or on vacation? He can do some automatic delegation for his role in this workflow, so you don't have bottlenecks and workflows that are stuck. Okay, this is called business process modeling and visual workflow, which is automating this business process. Also, some novel technologies for reporting include maps and integration with GIS. Very nice, very important. A lot of clients like it, especially if you have big portfolios, big programs, or big projects in multiple locations. Okay, so here we're seeing some information taken from PMIS system, some status, some updates, some progress, and displayed on maps. Okay, and of course you can drill down, you can click, you can go, you can do some zooming, etc. Finally, we have novel technologies for reporting and dashboards that include linking site cameras or project cameras to your PMIS. If you want to do this, some people find it a little bit weird in some industries, but others need it. So if your customer or your project program manager needs to monitor some things by camera, he can link it to his PMIS. It's becoming a trend in some industries. And also, as I said before, the use of multiple platforms, very important. Sometimes engineers or professionals or other types of people need to go on site and make some entries. Okay, you need to work offline and online. Okay, some places they don't have internet access. So to integrate this, you need to have a friendly PMIS that can go on multiple platforms and multiple windows and displays. Okay, our final poll for this evening. What is the biggest challenge in setting up a dashboard? Okay, let's start. Maybe Dr. Sadi can help me a little bit here. Because, okay, let's start this poll. Okay, it started. Okay, great. Let's stop it here. Okay, so the question was, what's the biggest challenge in setting up dashboard, collection and update of realistic data, selecting PMIS with flexible interactive dashboard, convincing users, and D. Most of you said 69% A, which is, I believe, the most important one, the correct answer. Second one is C, you have 16%, which is also good. 10% is B, and D is 3%. So by order, most important one is having realistic data, okay, and real-time data. And close second, here I have a big gap in answer. Close second is convincing users to trust this dashboard. Once trust goes, it's very related. Once trust goes, you will have no longer value in your dashboard. Okay, selecting a PMIS and integrating are less important, but they are important as well. Okay, I guess for me that's it for today, unless we have some questions. Yes, for my side, I'm very happy to have given this webinar. I thank advisors and Dr. Sadi, of course, and I thank all the attendees for your patience.
Thank you, Ziad. I think this was a very interesting webinar. I really enjoyed it. Okay. First of all, before taking questions, I'd like to introduce Dr. Ibrahim Kibbe. He's our business analytics expert. Also have been working with us for over 10 or 15 years now. He's going to speak next Wednesday about forecasting investment objectives out of turbulent times. Because I had a discussion with Dr. Kibbe and I asked him, you use lots of data in order to provide forecasts for organizations. Now, after the pandemic, what good is the data that we have? How can you use it? And he said, no, there are other means now, maybe some subjective, qualitative, and so on. So this was a very interesting topic, and we decided to change the original topic, which was to be talked about resource management towards this one. So join us next week. Now, having said that, let us stop the presentation and start taking questions. So Ziad, the first thing I'd like to ask you, what is MS Excel fitness for KPIs and dashboards? And you can guess this question comes from who? From Dr. Kibbe himself. Ziad,
yes, MS Excel fitness
for KPIs and dashboards.
I'm not really sure about the details of it. I think it's a add-on to Excel. Okay, that will help you do some really nice dashboards and KPIs based on information in your Excel sheets. A lot of people use Excel. Okay, let's say 90% of people use Excel, 10% use PMIS. Okay, so if you want to use the data easily, okay, from Excel, of course you need something that interacts well with Excel to do some KPIs and dashboards to your clients, the right tool, as we say, and to present it in a very well presented and very nice manner. Okay, so this is.
I have an opinion here, perhaps, Ziad. Excel is a very powerful tool. Most of us use maybe 5% of Excel or 5% of most of the applications. Nevertheless, it is not meant to be an application for the enterprise where it has multiple users feeding in data and viewing data at the same time. It's not like a database with a dashboard that allows multiple views to see multiple things. Okay, this is my point of view. But next week we're gonna ask.
I think Dr. Kibbe acted as a question as an introduction to his seminar.
Yeah. Then we have from Nabi Farhad. Don't you think that the value of a dashboard is significant that will pass through the good and quality of the information required?
Okay, I don't understand the whole question really well, but the value of a dashboard, it's in the reception of the audience. Okay, the value of a dashboard, if it's how much really it can help in decision making. So if you're giving nice dashboards with no meaning, it's not good. If you have a lot of meaning with very bad design dashboard, it's no good. Okay, you need both design and information to get to the high value level dashboards. Okay, and this is maybe it's a science, as we say, by its own. It's a very big field, but having good KPIs is a start, good metrics, and then moving to dashboard design. It's like this for reporting. Okay, so how the audience receive it is very, very important. It's very important.
Now another question: are the dashboard rules binding and international for all companies? This is a question from Funda Ayaz.
They are not. Of course. These are rules made by experts in the field. These are best practices from some of the thinkers in the field of reporting. But I would recommend to use these rules as a benchmark when doing dashboards. If you don't want to use them, maybe you have your own reason, okay, or your own logic behind in your company, in your setting, okay. But these are like best practices. They are not binding, of course. They are recommendations to have a very good dashboard and a very good reception from the audience.
Okay. Another question from our friend Ahmed Khalizad. Ahmed will be speaking with us in the next batch after the first 14 are over. And he's asking, as best practice, is there a standard KPIs and dashboard that need to be part of any project reporting? Is there standards for KPIs and dashboards?
It really depends on the industry we're working in, because you see KPIs for like oil and gas, construction, engineering are very different for KPIs in IT, telecom. Of course, there is project management KPIs and there is something called technical KPIs. Project management KPIs, you can find a lot of benchmark for these. Okay, PMBOK Guide has many of them. Okay, other standards have many of them. Okay, but even these project management metrics are a lot different depending on industry and depending on size, complexity of the project. Okay, I'll give you an example. Maybe it's very important for me to have forecasting on big projects to see where the project is going and how much money do I need, more resources. On smaller projects or other industries, not as important. Okay, depending on the methodology. Okay, how I'm
you said the methodology. This is the other question from Ahmed, which is even more interesting, because he's asking, is there a difference in setting up KPIs depending on the project implementation method, waterfall versus agile, for example? Okay, this is very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, of course, there's a big difference, because you know, in waterfall we have long-term planning. Okay, and we have KPIs that are more steady and more, if you want, relevant to the entire life cycle of the project. In Agile, we don't. Okay, in Agile, we have something called cycle time as a KPI. Okay, we have something called number of the backlog, number of backlog tasks, which is not there in waterfall. Okay, so in Agile, we have very different set of KPIs, especially the project management KPIs. Okay, the PM KPIs are very different between waterfall and Agile. So you need to look at how you're managing your project to develop your KPIs and later on dashboards.
Good. So a question from our friend Noor Al-Khiloufi. In an organization, who is best placed to establish, track, and update? Who is best within the organization to establish, track, and update the dashboard? Okay,
it depends what is the dashboard. Because you have dashboards that are more towards the company level, strategic dashboards, and you have project dashboards. If you're talking about project dashboards or program dashboards, of course, it needs to be the PM and his team, okay, or program manager and their teams, okay, because they know to update or change the dashboard, you need to know the details of the project. The one who chooses what to see knows almost everything in the background, okay. If you're talking about strategic dashboards or balanced scorecards for initiatives and for portfolio planning, it's more like towards financial managers and towards senior management, board of directors, special committees. Okay, they make dashboards for the health of the company, the future of the company, where are we going. It depends on what level of dashboard we're talking about. Okay, so project level, program level, strategy level.
Interesting. Now, I'm going to ask you a question before we continue. There are a couple of good questions, but this is really tricky. What about how do we measure benefits, Ziad, with respect to programs and benefit realization management? How can we measure these and put them in a dashboard?
I think I need to ask you this question, right? Benefits are not easy to measure, okay? Because you need to measure value, okay, which is not very easy. It's different from what the output. We need to distinguish between output and benefit. Okay, benefit, you need to look now at the strategic goals of the project, okay, in the business case, okay? And if you had some metrics there, numbers from your business case, okay, you can now start to make a dashboard to measure benefits, but you need to be careful, which is what Dr. Saadi taught us. Benefits do not become realized in most of the time during the time of the project. You need maybe to wait a little bit more during operations, after a while, during the ending of the entire program, okay? So benefits, you need to look at the business case and to go long term, okay, to measure them. What do you think?
I think I need to establish one of our speakers to speak about benefit. It's a very benefit realization management, very interesting topic. And I tell you, the key to answer the question is you cannot provide metrics for benefits based on project management alone. Here is where you have the intersection between metrics for operations before and after, and metrics for project management, one thing. The other thing is that, yes, we cannot measure the benefits before they occur, but we can measure, if you like, the indicators that they will occur by measuring their enablers, whether they are there within the operation or not. It's a little bit complex thing, but I think we'll establish a session for that. Now, I have a very interesting question here from Nabil Hamid. How to prevent dashboard manipulation? Very important question.
Okay. It will depend, of course, on the system, the software, and the access level prejudice. I've been a system administrator in many PMOs, okay? And it's very sensitive how you give your authorities, your privileges, and your passwords. Who gets to change? You need a process for this. You need a process for security, okay? You need a reliable PMIS, first of all. Okay, not anything could work. And you need to have a very clear process on privileges, access, and authorities, okay? Because if everyone can delete, if everyone can change and edit, chaos. Chaos will happen in dashboards and even in systems, not only dashboards, okay? So you need to be really careful who you give authorities and how do you give out the passwords, and sometimes even they make you sign an agreement or they make you understand that you are responsible for data you enter because you have the password, and if the data is not tied, you might get taken away some privileges, okay? So you need to do a process for this. It's not easy, but a good admin can do it. It's not hard. It's not really very, very complex. You can do it by doing a process how to divide privileges and access.
I think this is also part of the answer, because the other part is, what about manipulating the data before they enter the dashboard? Okay, what do you say about this? How do you make sure that the data is correct, is right? Because you know, garbage in, much more garbage out.
Yes, it's all about your data source. Where are you taking the data from? Okay, who are the teams providing the data? Are they really reliable? Okay, do they have real visibility on the project, or are they giving some random numbers, it depends on your data sources. So you need to have very good data sources and people that know what they are talking about.
I have a question from Islam Sharif. Please, could you discuss earned value management and dashboarding? Maybe give us insight into this topic.
Okay, so it's a very big topic, of course. So, but really important in this question is that earned value management gives us a lot of KPIs that could be used in dashboards. Okay, like the CPIs, SPIs, the forecasting. Okay, I will not go into the details of this. Of course, it will need a lot of time. But earned value management are really a set of metrics and KPIs that could be modeled using dashboards. How we can model it, using what type of tools and charts and graphs, and what are the trend lines we can see. It's another discussion. It's a big one. But the important thing to say is that earned value management calculations are a good tool to start with dashboarding. Okay, KPIs, and then to transform them into dashboards.
I agree with you. I'd like to add one thing. When we talk about earned value management, first of all, who are you? Are you a contractor working on a cost plus contract or a lump sum contract? The second question, are you the owner? If you are the owner, the developer, the ministry, the public entity, to you, cost performance index is one. Because if the contractor does not deliver, you're not going to pay them. It's more about scheduling and budget, not the cost actually, which needs a tweaking. So earned value management was born specifically for the federal US government because most of their contracts, I believe above $5 million, use, especially those that are cost plus, which puts the whole risk on the owner. They require the contractors to use specific formats like Format 5 and whatnot within ANSI 748B standard, whereby they will see through the efficiency of the contractor. It's a big topic. I think also it requires a session by itself. Very interesting to see what aspects can be used by our organizations, mostly working on lump sum contracts rather than cost plus. Now, another question from Salah ad-Din bin Tata. How do you sense a bad KPI reporting during project progress presentation? Interesting question.
Bad KPI reporting. It's basically a bad KPI is basically not giving much information or not giving a true insight into the progress and health of the project. So bad KPI, you can sense it by noticing how the KPI is changing, comparing it with what you are seeing actually on the ground or what you are hearing from other sources. Okay, a bad KPI could be that simply the number is wrong and you know it. Okay, the calculation done, the formula is wrong and you know it because you have experience. Okay, don't underestimate your client. Okay, we went to a lot of projects. The client knows the dashboard details sometimes better than us, but they are looking for standardization. They are looking for one standard, a better way to see their KPIs. Okay, so bad KPIs can have a lot of reasons, mainly data sources, mainly bad interpretation of information, but they can be tracked, and a lot of people have been found out on this. Okay, they put some bad KPIs or some not really sure about KPIs, and clients can notice it. Okay? They notice difference every day. They follow up. Okay, it's their project in the end. Okay, so PM needs to do this exercise before going to clients. He needs to question his team. Is that a source? Is it right? Are we giving the right information? If I go direct to client, it's a problem. Okay.
You know, Jack Welch, I saw a video for him the other day, and he was talking about one of the, if you like, traits of a successful leader. And he said, take your ass off your office, off your desk, and go downstairs, speak to the people. So when KPIs are green or good or I don't know what, okay, all the day, nothing changes. And at the end, maybe your financial people tell you we are losing money, but the KPIs are green and positive. Something is wrong. You have to go down to the field and check and speak to people and speak to contractors and see for yourself. Maybe your middle managers are sugarcoating. Okay, maybe they are afraid to bring up bad news. Could be many reasons. Okay, KPIs are as good as the way we handle them, but we have to go and check for ourselves. Now, another question from Adnan Blay, interesting one. He thinks integrating PMIS with ERP system correctly to pull live data to the dashboard, hence the data could be realistic and accurate with respect to the other question and the poll. So he's talking about if you integrate PMIS with ERP and you get realistic data, then your dashboard will be accurate. What do you think, Ziad?
I think it's an interesting concept. It is true for many things because many times our PMIS, especially in planning, they have estimates, scheduling, for example. Okay, it gives us an estimate where we're going to finish, activity times, and also costs. But our ERPs have actuals. Okay, so past spending and correct spending, and what is every resource coming to work or not, and what is they getting in terms of cost and other things. So this integration completes the cycle. But usually ERPs, they cannot help us a lot with forecasting unless there's a very good trend analysis in ERP. ERPs are the status as it is actually in our company. Okay. But in cost management, for example, interacting with ERP is very important. Cost management, cost forecasting and estimation. To get better estimates next time or to get better KPIs and dashboards, you need to interact with your ERP. Okay? Again, ERP, I'm noting what's happening in terms of HR, accounting, finance, inventory, a lot of things. Okay? So this integration is very important and it can lead to better dashboards. Right.
Here I want to add one thing. ERPs are there to tell us about the past, because the financial reports come usually audited from a quarter before or 3 months, whereas project management is about the future. Okay, it's about today and the forecast for the future. Okay, one aspect. ERPs are about budgets, also cost, but projects are about cost estimation, cost control, cost forecast. Okay, so how to integrate these two? It's not that easy. Okay, because there should be a framework for the integration, integrating the process of the people who operate in operation versus the process of people who operate in project management. If we are successful, remove silos. Very interesting, but yet very, very, very tricky. Not easy to do. Now let me move to another question from our friend Nawaf Al-Ahmadi. Hello, my friend Nawaf. For a project manager, do you think that setting KPIs for team effectiveness will lead to meeting the project KPIs? Wow, I love this question. KPI for team effectiveness.
Yes, I think most people don't do it. Most projects. I think it is very important, of course. And to add to this, a recent study done by none other than PMI shows that the number one success factor for successful projects is what? Satisfied team. Not satisfied client, not good cost measuring, not good scheduling. Okay, satisfied team. So KPI for measuring team. I had a part in this kind of seminars I give about self-reporting KPIs and dashboards. What is self-reporting? Okay, so you are a PMO, you are monitoring every other department and every other contractor and consultant. Who is monitoring you? Who is monitoring your people's issues and problems and challenges? You need to have your internal look at your own PMO, your own people, to get better at your work, of course.
Yeah, you reminded me when a committee came to audit the PMO, one of the PMOs we worked in, a large one, and we showed them lots of things and they were very happy. But they said, there's one thing missing. When you asked them what, they said, you do not report your own performance. We said, of course we do. And then we showed them a dashboard for our self-reporting. We were astonished. They said, we never found anything like this before. Why didn't you show us? We said, because we believe nobody would ask about it. But we do it to make sure that we're not wasting our time or the time we are paid for. I think this is very important. Team effectiveness, yes, this is a very interesting KPI. I wonder what the formula would be to measure it. There are means to sort this out. Now, another question from Ahmed, again, our friend Ahmed Khreizet. He is asking, should KPIs and dashboard be managed by PMO to avoid manipulation?
to be frank, usually they are managed by PMOs, but a lot of projects may not have a PMO. Okay, so they may have a reporting officer or manager, right? Document controller, document manager. Okay, usually under the authority of the PM and / sponsor if he is involved. Okay, so of course PMO has a very big role, but not all projects have an active PMO. Okay, so you need to see who has the responsibility for dashboarding and KPIs. I would say advanced PMOs would definitely give you the methodology approach, and they might do some compliance checks as well. Okay, if you are following up with what they gave you. Okay, but normal projects or normal importance or complexity or size projects may not have a PMO for them for dedicated. So they go to what? Their document managers. Okay, their reporting experts. Okay, to handle their KPIs and dashboards under the PM's authority, of course, and the same management.
So I'm gonna take the last two questions. The first from our friend Ahmad Mukhtar. Ahmad also is one of our esteemed speakers. He's going to speak about P3O, very interesting topic, in the next batch as well. And he's saying most KPIs use the result of work. So is adding KPIs to measure the process itself in addition to the result, KPIs may improve the performance measurement?
Yes, of course. But this is harder. Okay. You're looking at assurance. You're looking at really the work of PMOs here. Okay. You're looking at the efficiency of a process. You need to measure it well and to know how to measure it. Okay. Because the result of work is easier to measure than than the effectiveness of a process. However, the more maturity you have, you can tackle these stuff. I would say if you have never done KPIs or PMOs or dashboards before, don't start with the process effectiveness. Okay, start with the basics. Okay, but if you're really mature and you don't want to go to the next level and have KPIs for these things, it's really good. Okay, measure how efficient is your process and if you need to change it or not in terms of quality assurance. Okay, and how do you measure this? Is it a number between 1 or 10? Is it subjective? Is it objective? Does it have a formula or not? A lot of questions come to mind here. Okay, but a very interesting topic indeed.
Now, I will take the last question. Fadi Kremi, is it possible to use traffic lights, red, green, yellow, to reflect our future expectation of the project status instead of reflecting the previous progress?
Most of the cases it's used for the past. You could use it for the upcoming trends or what you expect. It's not commonly used. I would say it's not commonly used. You can use it, but you have to be very clear about it. Why? Not to confuse people. Okay, because people when they see green, the project is okay. Red, I have issues. So if you want to use traffic lights for trends or upcoming expectations or predictive. If you want cycles, okay, for the project, you need to be very clear on how to display on displaying it. Usually, trends and forecasts are shown more in trend lines, okay, and in other ways of dashboarding, okay. But it could be used. It's an interesting one. I've never not seen that before in abundance.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if there are some other questions we could not answer. I believe, as usual, we exceeded the time. I would like to, again, thank you, Ziad, for offering this very interesting presentation tonight. I'd like also to thank our audience for staying with us another Wednesday late at night. Thank you. Until next week, stay safe and see you soon, inshallah.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you to the audience. Thank you, Dr. Saadi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Hello, my name is Dr. Saadi Adra. I'm offering a webinar, Breaking Organizational Silos,
during the times of social distancing. Join me soon.
This is Dr. Ibrahim Shira speaking to you from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We'll be focusing on public-private partnership contracts and privatization contracts. See you.
Hi, my name is Antonio Nieto Rodriguez. I was the chairman of the Project Management Institute in 2016. Today I'm going to talk to you about why project management needs to reinvent itself, and project managers too. So I look forward to see you in my webinar.
Hi, this is Al Zaytoun from Washington, D.C., USA. I look forward to interacting with you on the Advisors webinar titled Balancing People, Process and Governance for Operational Sustainability. See you then. So long.
Hi there, I'm Radia Benagia from Algeria. I'll be talking to you about emotional intelligence, leadership, and transformational change. I hope you're well. Stay safe.
This is Mustafa Fuzoğlu from Turkey. I'm offering a webinar with advisors on digital project management.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sean Reagan from California and Prague, and I will be presenting a webinar with advisors on opportunities in crisis and complex situations, so please join me.